The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
Now, I know a lot of you are saying, Howie, I hope you're going to talk about the illegal alien. I want to just tell you that where did you first hear about that Obama's uncle was an illegal alien? Unless you're one of the handful of people left in the world who subscribes to the Metro West Daily News. You heard it here first on Friday night because one of our listeners is one of those handful of people. She told us about it. Another one of our listeners told us where to find it. The story was kind of buried. And we had it on Friday night. We didn't know for sure he was the uncle, but we did point out that his name was Obama, Yango Obama or something like that. And he has now been outed as an illegal alien. And we've gotten some news. Michelle McPhee will be joining us in a couple of minutes. She's been working on this story, even though she's between gigs. This was too good of a story for her to pass up. And she came up with his driver's license number today. So I decided at that point I'd handle it from there, and I called up the Registry of Motor Vehicles to find out. With the driver's license number in tow, I can find out how he got a license, because he had a license, but it took me a while. It took a while for the people at the Registry of Motor Vehicles to run it down for me. And they have come back with the news just moments ago that this guy, this illegal alien, Barack Obama's uncle, who was busted for driving under and for being an illegal alien as he left the Chicken Bone restaurant, as he left karaoke night. For I do know it was karaoke night because I looked it up on the. Only they call it Bonioko night. And they have bona fide good chicken at the Chicken Bone. And I'm not... There's so many stories you have to preface these days by saying, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. So he was at karaoke night at the fried chicken house, and he left, and he got arrested. And it turns out that Obama's uncle Omar, as he was called in the book, although he decided to Africanize his name as it became more fashionable, apparently, Uncle Omar has a valid the reason Uncle Omar has a valid driver's license from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is because Uncle Omar, despite being an illegal alien, has a valid Social Security number. How do you like them apples? You know, we've learned a lot from the Obama family, haven't we? You know, last year we learned, you know, everyone always told me, you know, the liberals would call him, Howie, you're so nativist and bigoted and homophobic and racist and nativist by saying these illegal aliens can get welfare when you know very well they can't get on welfare. And then Auntie Zatouni copped to the fact that even though she was an illegal alien, she had not been granted refugee status at that point. She was collecting. She was collecting money as an illegal alien, welfare money. Now her brother, I guess it is. I guess Uncle Omar is her brother. Now we find out that Uncle Omar, who was an illegal alien, has a valid Social Security number and a valid driver's license from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Isn't this nice? And now we know something else, that when he was taken in to custody, the first thing he said was, "You shouldn't have stopped me." She said, the cop said, "Wait a second, I had to put on my brakes, and the guy behind me, with that guy right there, he had to put on his brakes too. We almost had a 3-car accident here because you were making an unsafe left turn." And Uncle Obama said, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't hear any tires squeal, so you must not have really braked." So in other words, it runs in the family. He was telling the cop, this is not a cop in Cambridge, this is a cop in Framingham. He was telling him that he was acting stupidly. So then they get him to the station house, and do you know what he says? They said, "Do you want to make a phone call?" And he says, maybe I'll call the White House. Maybe I'll call the White House. Isn't that great? So now we have another case of the another one of the president's near relatives is being is going to have to face deportation charges here. And guess what has happened? History is repeating itself. That lawyer from Chicago, I think her name is Margaret Wong, who defended Auntie Zatouni and got Auntie Zatouni her refugee status after all these years, is now going to defend Uncle Omar, so that Uncle Omar can get back out and start returning to karaoke or bonioke night at the Chicken Bone in Framingham. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. 407 says if you open up the dictionary and look up ugly and your face is there, you qualify. Are you talking to me? Why won't they refile the Jeff Perry amendment, the bleeping hacks? 1-8 said, Willie Lantiga, come on down. No, he's not. Where is do you know who I am? Well, when he says he's going to phone the White House, how much more do you need to know about the guy?
You know who I am?
1-877-469-4322. So I said to the registry people, I called him fairly early this morning to try to find out about the license. Because I got like I said, Michelle got me his license, the number on his driver's license. So I knew he had a legit license. But I want to know how an illegal alien could get a legit license. They said they went back all the way through all their computerized forms. They computerized 20 years ago. And he had a valid Social Security number more than 20 years ago. More than 20 years ago. And I would assume this is not a fake. So this is not, he didn't lift this from somebody, or it would have turned up at some point. I assume this. So apparently if you go down there, you need the Social Security number. We all know that. We all had to present our Social Security numbers when we got our license at age 16 or 16 and a half, whatever it was at the time. And if you don't have a Social Security number, then you have to get a letter or notice from the SSA, the Social Security Administration, telling the registry why, or telling it to whom it may concern why you don't have a Social Security number. Maybe you have applied for a refugee status, and your application is currently pending. Because everybody, you don't want to just be some regular illegal alien. You want to be some refugee, because you become a refugee and you're automatically entitled to the welfare. I mean, again, of course, we now know that Auntie Zatouni, before she was a legit, quote unquote legit refugee, she was she said she was getting money. She was getting welfare money. But supposedly you had to come up with some excuse, and then they give you a license if your application was pending. But there's none of this with this guy. He had a Social Security number more than 20. He has had a Social Security number for more than 20 years, even though he's an illegal alien. I needn't tell you his nephew was not president of the United States more than 20 years ago. I mean, this thing is just so out of control. It's just beyond belief. And by the way, congratulations to the 2,000 to 2,500 people, the bikers and others who turned out for Matthew Denise's memorial commemoration there on Friday night, even with the alleged hurricane allegedly barreling in on the state. 2,000 to 2,500 people turned out. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. Bill, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Bill.
Hi, Howie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. I moved to Eastern Maine about 20 years ago. I'm a health professional. And as a hobby, I did pastel artwork. So downtown, they're having a festival. And I thought, well, I'll display some of my artwork in one of the little stores. So I told the girl I was a minority artist. Well, I'm as white as the day is long.
Yeah.
And she said, well, what are you? I said, I'm Prussian American. You know, we're German extract.
Right.
And she said, oh, okay. And she didn't dare ask me.
Right. Of course she didn't.
So my picture hung up there for a long time, Bill X, Prussian American. And most of my friends got a big kick out of it.
That's pretty good. You could have called yourself a Prussian American, and she wouldn't have asked you anything about it
No,
either.
no one knows who the Prussians are anymore. But I
know who they were.
Conservatives, I found out later. They were nice folks, but...
Yes. Give Germany back Königsberg.
That's right. That's Königsberg. That's right. That's way up. That's part of Russia now.
Yes, exactly. And Danzig too, right?
Danzig. That's right.
Yes.
Get back to Danzig.
No, it's Gdansk. Yes.
Gdansk. No, I've been there. It's a nice place.
Thanks for the call, Bill. 1-877-469-4322. A Prussian American. Prussians are usually associated with oppressing other people. They had a militaristic culture. They unified Germany as well. 1-877-469-4322. Joe, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Joe.
Howie, before I talk about Uncle Omar, I wanted to know, did you hunker down or did you batten down the hatches?
I think mainly I think I battened down the hatches. What did you do? Did you hunker or batten?
I think I hunkered. I will never watch the Weather Channel as long as I live. These people are absolutely out of their minds. And now we're having the flood of the century. You know that.
Yes, I do.
Up here in the western part of the state and up in Vermont, where Josh lives.
Well,
maybe Josh will float right by my door.
They were gonna flood. I heard on the radio today they were gonna flood Burlington. Were they thinking of flooding Burlington to relieve the pressure on a dam?
I don't know, but that wouldn't be any great loss, would it?
Well, I mean, as someone who had a flood in my basement last year, I wouldn't wish that on anybody, not even Josh.
Okay, I got to tell you a quick story. Back a few years ago, when my mother was terminally ill, we tried to get one of my relatives over from Poland.
Yeah.
On a green card, a temporary green card, and really temporary. She was going to go back after a year, and we couldn't get her over.
You couldn't?
Under no circumstances, no.
But Uncle Omar can live over here with a fake Social Security number apparently for 20 years and drive drunk to the karaoke bar at the Chicken Bone every Wednesday night.
This is what really ticks me off about this story. Is not that it's an illegal alien story, but that it's an illegal alien who is technically living as a legal alien, and nobody bothered this guy for 20 years until he decided to break a traffic law.
Right. It doesn't even. You know what? Ultimately, it doesn't have anything to do with Barack Obama because it's just a symbol of. It just happened. This guy just happens to be related to him. How many people are living like this in the United States of America?
Well, exactly. And he was not underground. He was above board. I don't know. Does the guy have a job?
He owned a store, apparently.
Oh, my God.
For a while. I don't think he owns it now, but there was something somewhere about he owned a store, and some guy came in and held him up 5 years ago with a shotgun. So
where did he get the Social Security card? Do you know? Or
No, They said, I said, can you give me a date when he came in with the Social Security card? And they said, all we can tell you is it was more than 20 years ago because it predates us going to computers.
Oh, my God. Howie, take care. It's just going to get worse.
It's over. You know what? Care. It's over. Thanks for the call, Joe. 1-877-4. I'm trying to keep a stiff upper lip and laugh about it as I hunker down and batten down and all that. But this is pretty bad when you've totally lost control of the borders like this. I mean, and this is. I want to know, how did they know he was if he had a legit Social Security number and a legit driver's license, and he didn't have this was his first surchargeable offense. There's nothing on his. They sent me over a copy of his driver's license. We should probably post that, Sandy. Post that and see if any cops can figure out anything that any of the a magic code that we're not figuring out. I can't. It doesn't look like there's nothing on his record until last week when he's leaving the chicken wing or the chicken bone. Russ, which, by the way, has excellent chicken wings, according to their website. 11 different varieties of chicken wings. They also have cold adult malt frosty beverages, as you probably determined from the fact that what happened to him, what happened to Uncle Omar. Russ, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Russ.
Hey, Howie, can I comment on the UGLO qualifications real quick?
Sure.
If you leave the bar at closing time by yourself, I think you should qualify.
That's true. That's a very good way to determine it. Remember that old country song by, I think it was by Gary Stewart? I've gone to bed with a lot of 10s and woken up with a lot of 4s.
Hey, Howie.
Yes.
I qualify. I was getting glasses one time, and I was trying on a bunch of frames, and I looked at the girl, and I said, how do these look? And she said, nothing helps.
Thanks for the call, Russ. 1-877-469-4322. Jim, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Captain.
Hi.
You know, this is just a week after the guy that got killed. Where was that, Malden? The guy got run over and dragged?
Milford.
Yeah. So, you know, there was a time in this country where this would have been damaging to the president politically, but like you said, you know, there's not even to be any shame attached to it or anything. His family, you think of this as his I keep coming back to this guy's family, Obama. You know, look who's in it. Look who's in his family, even if he wasn't the president. It's a nightmare. It's a disaster.
Yeah, I know. I know it is. And you know, I'm old enough to remember when Billy Carter was living in was drunk and, you know, pissing on the tarmac in North Africa. And then before that, there was a guy named Sam Houston Johnson who actually, he was such a drunk, he lived in the White House because they couldn't, you know, he had lost his house. He was Lyndon Johnson's brother. And, you know, it was like, you know, pardon the expression, these people were black sheep of the family, and everybody was, you know, trying to get these people straightened out. And this is like a big joke, you know? I mean, Auntie Zatuni is on welfare. Now this guy is running around with a fake apparently a fake social security number, and you know, getting arrested for drunk driving after leaving the karaoke night contest. I mean, you're right. It's not. You
said it just right, Howie. It's a joke now. And his mother, think about Obama's mother. You know, she was a piece of work, and this is the crowd she married into. It's what she wanted. That whole just, you know, typical 60s, whatever goes crowd. That's what she wanted. That's who she was. And, you know, this president, I'll tell you what, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, Howie.
Yeah, I know. He's, yeah. Look, yeah. Thanks for the call, Jim. 1-877-469-4322. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, Howie. Thank you for taking me. You're missing the big picture on this one. The big picture is, I can remember when George Bush's daughters was partying in a Florida nightclub, and that was all over the news. That was everywhere. You couldn't turn a channel or a newspaper without seeing a story, and here's Obama's uncle.
Yeah.
The only time I heard it was on Saturday,
yeah,
on your station, I believe.
Yeah. So let's see. This happened Wednesday. It happened Wednesday night, right? Wednesday night. It was in the Middlesex News, I believe, on Thursday or Friday, the Metro West Daily News. Then we picked it up on the station Friday night. I wrote about it in my column on Sunday. The Washington Examiner or the Washington Times wrote about it on Sunday, and it didn't make any of the quote unquote mainstream newscasts until today. It took 5 days for the story to make the mainstream news.
So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. If George Bush's daughters was everywhere, this should have been everywhere also.
Right, and George Bush's daughters were dry. You couldn't say they were drinking underage at one point.
They were drinking underage.
But on the other hand, they weren't driving drunk, and they didn't have a fake Social Security number.
But they were Republicans, and that's why it was everywhere. And this guy's a Democrat, and it's nowhere.
We don't know if he's a Democrat. I wonder if he votes. Why wouldn't he vote, though? Hell, he just produces his license. That's all. You even have to produce? I know you don't have to produce a license to actually vote, but when you register, do you have to produce anything? I don't think so. It would be racist to ask anybody for a driver's license. Thanks for the call, okay. Paul. 1-877-469-4322. I'm Howie Carr. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. Didn't Dukakis have the RMV issue issue fake numbers to illegals? Seem to recall that. I thought it was the welfare department that was issuing the fake Social Security numbers, now that you mention it. But I thought those were like palpably fake, like 000, and then they go to the, something that you'd never see in real life. Maybe so that you'd know to put them to the head of the line so they could get their money before Americans. But I don't know that. Maybe this is an answer to this question. I don't know. I don't know the answer to it. 978. Holy crap, Howie! The friggin' White House is nothing but a big trailer park now. 617. Didn't ask me for my license when I moved to Lynn. The clerk giggled when I asked for it. 617. Did Uncle Omar vote? Is he on the voting rolls in the town he lives in? Howie, this is huge. Why is it huge? It's just another fake. If it's true, it's just another illegal alien voting. How many illegal aliens do you think voted? How many illegal aliens do you think vote? At least probably 1 million. I wonder how they vote. Do you think they vote Democrat or Republican? What's the better party for getting on welfare? I know a Brit that got a Social Security number to be able to open a bank account. It was not for work, just banking. He lost it. He went back for a new one, and they just gave him a real one. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's not a conspiracy theory. Maybe he just went down and said, "I need one." Hey, baby. I'm Yo-Yango Obama, star of the chicken wing karaoke known as Bonioka Night. 1-877-46. Give me an SSI card. Give me an SS card so I can get on SS. Robert, 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. Robert, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Robert.
From No Power, Falmouth. We still have no power down here. Just got finished raking the leaves. And we're listening to you by battery-operated radio.
That's great. That's why I say buy batteries. Have at least one battery-operated radio around for moments like this. See, this is a good show today. You're learning something new as you suffer.
Absolutely. And a couple things real quick. You already pointed upon he owned a sub shop or half owned a sub shop. I'd like to know a little more information about that.
I don't know what he owned. I don't know. He owned a shop of some kind. I got to find out what kind of shop. Yeah.
I read about this in the Australian website.
Yeah, I know.
That's how I first learned about it. And then I wonder what his karaoke song was.
I don't know. I went to the Chicken Bone website tonight to find out, and they said they have the list of the entertainment, and Wednesday night is karaoke night, and he got arrested Wednesday night. So I'm assuming that he got into trouble with the. I'm assuming he got into trouble with the karaoke night. But anyway, we've got it posted now, Sandy. Yes, we got it posted. It's going up. We'll have his record posted up here very quickly. We got his license number and all that. Thanks for the call, Robert. Joining us now is Michelle McPhee. She got the license number of this guy. Now, Michelle, thanks for joining us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Howie, the only thing that's not in this police report that I have in my hand is what song he was singing at the saloon. I hope it wasn't an awful song. Remember the one from the campaign that went that one?
Yeah, I do remember that one. Yes. Yeah, I do. But it says now we talked to I talked to the registry, and they say that he got the license because he presented a valid Social Security number to the Registry of Motor Vehicles more than 20 years ago. So they have no records as to where he got the Social Security number from or what an illegal alien was doing with a Social Security number.
Well, I guess the question that the registry needs to answer is this guy had an ICE warrant for his arrest. So when he went to renew that driver's license that he somehow got 20 years ago with a Social Security number, it doesn't pop the ICE warrant?
I've got his record here. There's no ICE warrant here. No,
I do know because it says it right here on the police report I have in my hand that Obama was held without bail due to an ICE detainer. The detainer is slated for deportation and removal. So he had already had a hearing, and a judge had ordered him to be deported.
But it's not on his driving record here. I've got the record right in front of me.
That's so astonishing. I mean, that's the real question I guess the RMV needs to answer, which is, okay, hold on a minute. So if somebody has a warrant for their arrest, it doesn't pop in the registry? Like Howie, if you missed a court appearance and you got pulled over by a city right now, you're going to get locked up.
I know. If I didn't pay running a stop sign, I would get pulled over and.
If you didn't pay your parking tickets on Hanover Street in the North End, they could take your car and lock you up.
Right, and probably handcuff me too.
Well, I'm sure.
Well, so this is a good this is a good question. Now this is another question to ask the registry or ask somebody, why isn't this ICE detainer on his driving history, and how did the Framingham cops know about it if it wasn't?
Because they ran his fingerprints, I'm sure, and this is what it goes back to the same question that I know you talked about a great deal last week about secure community. Now, if this guy had been arrested, then the first thing that the police are supposed to do is run it through secure communities. Now, clearly they did that. The Framingham PD did their job. They did the right thing, and that's how they found out about the ICE warrant. And the cop went as far as to call, the dispatcher working the Wednesday late night shift for ICE.
Can you imagine, too, the guy had the audacity, I mentioned this in my column yesterday, he had the audacity to tell the cops they were basically acting stupidly by pulling him over. I mean, it does.
Well, my favorite quote is, the police officer said, would you like to call anyone to post bail? And his response is, I think I'd like to call the White House.
Where is he being held right now, Michelle? Do we know?
I'm not sure. I know that he was arrested last Wednesday. He's being held without bail, but whether he is being held without bail in connection to almost rear-ending the Framingham police officer, or whether he's being held federally for the ICE warrant, it remains unclear.
He's got 48 hours to get out before karaoke night again.
Exactly. So, according to the police report, the cop sees this guy leaving the saloon. He spoke English well, albeit with a moderate accent. It's a very well-written police report, Howie. You know how you and I love a good police report.
No, I know it, albeit. I've never seen the word albeit in the police report.
With a moderate accent, I detected what I believe to be some slurring as he spoke. The male would not allow me to speak and continued to interrupt me.
And then he broke out into a rendition of Feelings. And at that point, I asked him if he had been at the karaoke night at the Chicken Bone.
Exactly. He actually argued with the cop. He said, hey, what are you talking about? My stop was adequate enough. So he acknowledged that he should have yielded to me as I was in a main lane of travel he was attempting to enter.
Again, Michelle, he was basically telling the cop, like his nephew told the cop in Cambridge, he was acting stupidly.
That's exactly what happened. He continued to lecture the police officer about the police officer's driving ability.
Oh, my God.
I mean, he did this for quite a while, too.
Yeah.
He said that he did not hear my tires squeaking. This is the cop talking about Obama. So I was not being accurate. So he lectured the cop and said that the cop was lying about the circumstances of the pullover, even though the guy is bombed.
Oh man, what kind of place did he owned a business, right?
Well, it says employer is Conti Liquor.
Conti Liquor?
Yeah, CONTI Liquor.
Okay, so he works at a liquor store.
He works in a liquor store. The cop had asked him how much he had to drink. His original answer was that he had nothing to drink. This is beautiful. I told him I could smell a strong odor consistent with the consumption of alcohol coming from his breath. Obama then stated he had one beer. I further told Obama that though it may have been more than one, judging by the way he was behaving, he then admitted to having 2 beers.
2 beers! Yes, the traditional a couple of beers. He is assimilated into the country. Yeah, what's next?
Okay, so the cop is explaining a one-legged stand to Obama.
Yeah.
Though he stated that he understood, he kept attempting to start the test too early and talking over me as I instructed him. Every time I got a sentence out, Obama would say, "You are correct. You are correct." He also attempted to start the test approximately 7 times without being told to do so.
Oh, man, this is too good. How can this...
I guess he failed the one-legged stand, and then Obama was told to perform the 9-step walk and turn test.
Yeah.
This time, if the report says, this time he allowed me to finish the demonstration before attempting to perform the test. Obama was barely able to keep himself from falling. His arms went to his shoulder level several times as he tried to maintain his balance. At no time did he actually touch his heels to his toes as instructed. Obama had failed this test as well.
It was probably just a contact high from working an 8-hour shift at the liquor store.
I'm sure that's what the defense attorney. Now, apparently, He has hired Auntie Zatuni's defense attorney.
Well, that's the defense. That lawyer Wong that's the immigration attorney. I mean, he's gonna need himself a good drunk driving attorney too, then, isn't he?
Well, apparently. So I guess so. Obama was booked without an incident to cop rights. When asked if he wanted to make a telephone call to arrange for bail, Obama stated, "quote I think I will call the White House."
What time was he lugged?
The test commenced at 20:29 and concluded at 20:23. So about 10:30 at night.
Okay, that would give him plenty of time to make
karaoke. 0.14.
I know. That's the only thing I'm kind of disappointed in him, that he's not American enough to know that you don't take the breathalyzer test. Maybe he figured being the president's nephew would be a president's uncle.
He told the cops he wanted to take it.
He wanted to take the test?
Yeah, Obama stated he wanted to take the BP test and signed the consent form at 10:15.
Oh boy, what a dope!
So they did run his prints.
Yeah.
And that's how they found out they had this open warrant from ICE.
They had an open warrant from ICE, but there's no mention of it on the. I don't know. I don't know how this stuff works with the driving record.
It's so ridiculous, Howie. It's like the same argument I had with my Fastlane account, where they accused me of fraud and took me off the residential program, so it cost me like $2,800 over what I should have been paying.
Yeah.
And I said, well, how can you not be linked to the registry to see that I've never left East Boston? It's ridiculous. And how can the registry not be linked to ICE to see that some illegal is driving around with a Massachusetts license, even though he's supposed to be deported out of the country?
Okay, we got to stop here. Can you send us you got a fax machine there? Can you send us a fax of it? Hold on. Talk to Sandy. Thanks for being with us, Michelle McPhee. She'll be on Channel 5 after Labor Day. I'm Howie Carr. As just to go over it, if you've just come out and you've been Biff Buffington all weekend by the non-news about the non-event the non-weather event, and again we're happy about it. We're happy. Despite what Biff says, we're happy about that. It did turn out to be nothing. But if you've missed the story, apparently the president's uncle was arrested last Wednesday night in Framingham as he was leaving karaoke night at the Chicken Bone, in Framingham, which is about a mile from where he works at Conti's Liquors on Concord Street. And so he was picked up, and he demanded to take the breathalyzer. Bad move. He blew a 1.14, which is almost double the legal limit. He failed miserably the field sobriety test. He was locked up, and when they asked him if he wanted to call somebody, he said he wanted to call the White House. And the story has been kind of leaking out slowly. Somebody told me that they originally didn't list him as an illegal alien in the headlines and in the lead of the story. They took a lot of the Metro West Daily News. I don't know if this is true or not. I'm just hearing it from a fairly reliable source. That the Middlesex Daily News was taking the heat big time on the message boards about it, and so they changed it. We didn't see the story until it was on the web. We didn't see the actual print version of the story, and but anyway, they did print that he was an illegal alien. We got the story Friday night, read it to you. We didn't know he was the president's uncle. We were laughing about it. I wrote a little mention of it in the Sunday paper in my column at the very end of my Sunday column. And then the Washington Times picked up that it was the uncle, and now it's then the Australian papers and the British papers picked it up, and of course the American papers, other than the Boston Herald and the Washington Times and the Metro West Daily News, which picked it up because not because they're a conservative paper, but because it's in their neighborhood. So that you have these three papers, only three papers in the U.S. picked up the story, 3 papers. That's pitiful. That's really pitiful. But then the story came bouncing back when it was in Australia and England, and now it's on Drudge. And again, I doubt it very much whether it'll be on the network newscast tonight. But it turns out this guy is an illegal alien, and according to the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles, he has a valid driver's license. The reason, and you can't get a valid driver's license supposedly unless you have a Social Security number. And I asked him, I said, well, how the hell did he get a license if he didn't have a Social Security number? Maybe I'm Mr. Naive. But they said they couldn't tell me because he'd had the license for at least 20 years, so it went back. He had gotten it in their pre-computer days. Here's an avid listener on XTK, Joe in Hyannis. Howie, my Brazilian acquaintances here on the Cape tell me that when the illegal aliens go to the registry in Yarmouth to get to get a driver's license, they never go there when the old guy is working on the front desk because he checks to see if they're entitled to a mass driver's license. The other people on the staff don't check. They also tell me there is a chartered bus that will take them out to Illinois or Michigan to get a license from whatever state opens the door for them to get on welfare in Massachusetts. Nice, huh? It's a wonderful country we have here. 1-877-469-4322. Myron, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Myron.
Hey, Howie, I got a good one for you.
Yeah?
They've been running advertisements on TV in Maine for free cell phones, free Motorola Razr if you're on public assistance.
A free cell phone. We'd heard about the free cell phones. What else is in Pennsylvania? But we thought it was a national program. What did you say? A free razor too?
Yeah, free Motorola Razr.
Like an electric razor?
No, the telephone, the Motorola Razr.
A razor phone. I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, that's pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, it's. I think it was Centrex.com was the website. We went and checked it out, and I don't qualify because I work for a living.
Why are they only giving regular cell phones to illegal aliens? Don't you think all illegal aliens deserve smartphones? Don't they deserve an iPhone or an iPad? They've come a long way here to enjoy the milk and honey of the United States of America. Everything free in America. Let's not forget those words from Leonard Bernstein in West Side Story.
Hey, was it Benjamin Franklin that said we're supposed to make them uncomfortable in their poverty?
That was somebody. That's a good thing. We've come a long way from whoever said that, though. I don't know. That's a good thing to remember. Thanks for the call, Myron. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. What did someone say? We're not supposed to give them a hammock either when they get here. But that's what we're giving them, obviously. At least one thing about Uncle Omar, as he was apparently known to the family, at least he had a job. At least he was trying to assimilate to the United States of America. Again, although as I say, I'm rather disappointed he took the breathalyzer test. I thought most illegals, like Gwooman, the guy who allegedly killed Denise in Milford, he didn't take no breathalyzer test, right? He He doesn't speak English, and he knows not to take the breathalyzer. So there were some gaps in Obama's record. But now Michelle called us back, Sandy, and she was telling us about ICE usually gives out a statement when somebody gets charged with a crime, like they gave out a statement last week about Gwooman, the guy in Milford who allegedly killed the motorcyclist Denise, the American. But Sandy, they're changing their tune this afternoon.
They're saying that they don't comment on individual cases, even though they have in the past week.
So now. Do they just mean they don't comment on cases where the last name is Obama?
I'm inferring that from their statement myself, yes.
It's 774. What do they mean Biff is a fake? Plus, it's still very windy here in Hyannis. I resent that. Biff resents that too, I think. He resents being called a fake. Who are they to say? Has anyone ever seen? Has anyone ever seen me and Biff in the same room? No, I didn't think so. That's not the point I'm trying to make. In Biff we trust. The Globe not so much. How many papers picked up the Bush drinking story? Try every paper in the world picked that up, and they picked it up the first night too. They didn't wait 5 days either. We're now 5 days into this, almost 5 days into this story. He was arrested Wednesday night, and it's Monday afternoon now, and most of your papers haven't picked it up at all anyway, unless you read the Metro West Daily News, the Boston Herald, or the Washington Times. 1-877-469-4322. Howie, how wrong was Phil Collins in the 80s when he sang "It's no fun being an illegal alien"? Do we know if he's voted in Framingham? Uncle Omar's has worked in at Conti's for years. Has a distinctive bouquet about him. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. Okay, this is Bob Dane from press secretary for Federation for American Immigration Reform. Perhaps, Nancy, meaning Sandy, perhaps you and Howie are wondering if under the new administrative amnesty guidelines whether Obama's illegal alien uncle will be granted amnesty for his illegal status. The answer should be no, because he has committed a felony. In most states and under federal law, anything punishable by over a year imprisonment is considered a felony. Under Massachusetts general law, anyone who operates a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol level than .08 shall be punished by a fine of no more than $500, no more than $5,000, or by imprisonment for not more than 2.5 years. So but if he doesn't get the sentence, if the judge brooms the case or continues it without a finding, or they decide to cut it down to reckless driving, Bob, he could still skate, I think. 1-877. He should be deported, says Bob Dane. The question is whether he will be. I'm going to answer that question for you right now, Bob. The answer is no, he's not going to be deported. Rosemary, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rosemary. You there, Rosemary? Larry, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Larry.
Well, good afternoon, Howie. How are you?
Good.
Good. Hey, you're about as politically correct as I am, and I always enjoy dealing with my liberal friends. And I'll give you a term to use when you're talking about illegal aliens, the homeless, any of that group that they don't like having any reference to at all. I simply call them free-range people. And they stand there with a deer in the headlight look because they really don't know what to do with that one. So feel free to use it, Howie.
I don't know if that works, though, Larry, because, free-range chickens are supposed to be much tastier and better for you.
That's true, but they're very lean and mean, and, these people just range across our borders just like a free-range chicken.
I'll have to think about this one, Larry. Thanks for the call. 1-877-469-4322. Sandy, you want to get Bob Dane on the line? Just put him on. Let's get Bob on the line if we can. I'll have him explain everything. There's just no way that if his name was Onyango Carr, he wouldn't get arrested. Oh, the Globe has written the story. The Globe has written a story at 4:19 p.m. Oh, man. Stop the presses, baby. Oh, wow. 1-877-469-4322. Mike Rogers, a spokesman for immigration attorney Margaret Wong, said Obama is the president's half-uncle. Rogers said Obama is the elder brother of Auntie Zatuni Onyango, the half-sister of Obama's late father. Wong also represented Auntie Zatuni, who was granted asylum by a Boston immigration judge in May 2010. ICE does not comment on specific cases, the ICE press office said in an email statement. So, no, it says 7:05 he was. The Globe is saying he was arrested at 7:05. That's kind of early for the karaoke night to begin, I would think, unless they have a karaoke night happy hour. 1-877. Well, we congratulate the Globe. Better late than never. Boston Globe. 1-877-469-4322. Gary, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Gary.
Hey, Howie, yeah, I read online there. It said that ICE had previously ordered that Obama be returned to Kenya.
Right. So the papers must have gotten their story from somewhere. Did they get it from maybe they got it from the Framingham police?
I mean, I can tell you the name of the newspaper that it says online if you want me over the radio.
What's the name?
It says here, according to the Metro West Daily News, ICE had previously ordered that Obama be returned to Kenya.
That's the local Framingham paper that broke the story.
Right. Then it says he is being held without bail on a detainer from ICE. But Howie, my question is this: who's the White House going to send up to basically defend the Uncle Omar? Because I mean, you know he can't get a fair trial if they just have a public defender.
Well, he's got Andy Zatuni's lawyer, right? They've just announced that, but that's that's for the immigration case. You're right. He needs two lawyers. He needs a drunk driving lawyer and an immigration lawyer.
Hey, how about maybe Fat Matt's lawyer there? How did he do at that time?
Fat Matt's lawyer. Yeah, that would be great. How about who I would suggest if he hadn't already quote unquote retired would be Billy Bulger's law partner, Finnerty. The one that was described by Judge Wolf as thoroughly corrupt. I think he would be a perfect guy to defend the member of the Obama family.
Howie, who do you think footed the bill for Andy Zatuni that time for that lawyer?
Oh, I'm guessing that was that was pro bono.
Yeah, unbelievable.
That's like $1 million worth of free publicity, I would think.
And the same thing's going to happen with Uncle Omar here. It's crazy.
Think all these people. I mean, all these people. I'll bet. You work at Conti's. I'll bet you're not making you're not making big money at Conti's Liquors. I mean, he was probably living in some apartment somewhere down on Route 9. And all this empty space in the White House. Auntie Zatuni's living in public housing, even though I guess she's been moved up to a better rung of a public housing. But she's in public housing. We don't know where Uncle Omar is, but we're guessing he's not in a great place. Why don't these people move to the White House? Of course, Uncle Omar's still in the can. But I mean, once he beats the rap here, Thanks for the call, Gary. 1-877-469-4322. I'm Howie Carr. One 877-469-4322-617. Text us. Okay, so all his relatives are from Kenya, but not BHO. Yeah, okay. Legit birth certificate, please. No more room at the White House. Michelle's parents are there. Is it just her parents or just her mother? I thought it was just her mother. 1-877-469-4322. 1-877-469-4322. All right. Ferris, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Ferris.
A couple of my favorite topics today, Howie. Illegal voting by illegal, or what I like to call it is criminal aliens. That sounds a little stronger.
Yeah, well, I was just rereading the Globe story during the story they finally issued here all these days later. They finally had to write something. And do you know what word does not appear in the story? I bet you can guess. It's how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 paragraphs. You know what word does not appear? Let me give you a hint. It starts with an I. Illegal.
Uh-oh.
You want to know another word that does not appear in the story? It starts with an A.
I want to know what word is the first word of the Declaration of Independence. What would you hazard against at that, Captain?
When?
See, it's classically educated guys like you, Deerfield, University of National Champions. You guys know your history. But if you ask a young skull full of mush today, and I mean anybody between the age of 0 and 45, they have no clue. The first word of the Declaration is, of course, we the people, which is their Constitution, which is
I thought it was when in the course of human events.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. I just complimented your classical education because you know that stuff.
Oh, I see.
If you ask anybody else, in other words, all those listeners, what's the first word of the Declaration? Mm-hmm. Oh, everybody knows that it's we the people.
I'm sure Uncle Omar knows it though, because I'll bet there's some slow times in the middle of the afternoon at Conti's on the weekdays. He's got plenty of time to read up on the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution.
missed the Wizard of Oz, Howie, and you could bring it back. Now, we've got a new governor here in Connecticut who got in through vote fraud. His name is Dannel.
Yes.
Dannell, not Daniel, Dannel Malloy. And Dannel Malloy makes Ted Kennedy look like a piker.
Really? So we should start looking for some Malloy stuff. By the way, when I think of him as the governor of Bridgeport.
Well, that's where he got his start, But
that's where he got his majority. If you cut they had a lot of late voters, a lot of midnight voters in Bridgeport, didn't they? Isn't that how he got into office?
Sure. Whatever it takes. But I'm a proud winner of the Howie Carr Wizard of Oz contest. One time when I guessed Kennedy's thing, and I got a Christmas T-shirt that says "Merry Christmas, I speak English."
Well,
but if you go for Wizard of Oz using this Governor Malloy, you will not believe the Oz. This guy has a real serious problem, and it would make for a great contest.
We'll try to look for some stuff from Governor Dannel, Malloy, or whatever his name is. 1-877-469-4322. When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the bonds that join them or have joined them. That's about as far as I can get. That's about as far as I could ever get. 1-877-469-4322. Peter, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Peter.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
I am a regular at the Chicken Bone.
Yes.
And the 1 week I skip Bonioki night is the night all the fun happens.
No. But every Wednesday night is Bonioki night, right?
Bonioki night at the Chicken Bone.
Does he go? Do you see him there?
I recognize the mugshot. I have seen this person before.
Where have you seen the mugshot, by the way? We haven't seen a mugshot.
It's on Fox 25. It's on the link from your website, actually.
Oh, okay, great. Oh, God, we'll have to get that mugshot.
Now, listen.
I want to superimpose the mugshot over the logo of the Chicken Bone because I was really impressed by the Chicken Bone logo.
Well, the reporter who did the story for the Metro West, Norman Miller,
yes,
goes by the name The Beer Nut. And he does the weekly review column in the Metro West. I am one of the few subscribers.
Yes.
Who does the weekly column called The Beer Nut, introducing new beers to the population.
Well, then can you confirm or deny for me that in the original version of the story written by The Beer Nut, they did not refer to any illegal in other words, it was a Globe story, and they did not refer to any illegal aliens?
I don't think so, but I want to say for sure.
Yeah.
But I did email Norman.
Yes.
With the links to the story from the Australian, and I said, Norm, a couple of more questions, and you could have snagged a Pulitzer.
They don't give Pulitzers for this kind of story, Peter. If it was a story about the Bush daughters, I agree, he would have won a Pulitzer. But this kind of story, look at how long this story. The Globe just put it on their website 26 minutes ago. And it happened 5 days ago. The Beer Nut. 1-877-469-4322. Joining us now is Bob Dane from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
Hey, Howie. How are you?
Hi,
You've got
Bob.
a lot of immigration-related stuff going on up there. You've had that horrible tragedy in Milford. You've got secure communities. Now you've got, number 2 in the Obama clan.
Right, exactly, yeah. And now, we just found we can't confirm whether he was at karaoke night at the Chicken Bone yet. We're trying to nail that one down. This is it's tough writing a newspaper story and doing a radio show at the same time. But I just called you up, Bob, just to tell you I appreciate you sending us this stuff about the crimes that he committed. But you and I both know he's never going to get deported, right?
Well, the heart of this issue, this administration has been ignoring the laws and changing the rules over the last year to dismiss large categories of non-criminal aliens while they're promising to continue to deport criminal aliens. So right. I'd say the arrest of President Obama's uncle is very much a litmus test that's going to prove whether this administration is even interested in following the new nonsense rules they just made up. I mean, that's the heart of this thing.
I don't know if Sadie told you, but we checked with the Registry of Motor Vehicles today, and they said that he has had a valid driver's license for more than 20 years in Massachusetts. And to get a valid driver's license in Massachusetts, you need a valid Social Security number. And they say they have no idea how he presented a valid license, Social Security number.
No. Every way you look at it, it's wrong and it's corrupt. Now, there's an interesting angle on this, Howie, and you could say that if the president does not get involved in this case, then it maintains the objectivity of the outcome. In other words, his uncle's case, just like his aunt's, gets settled on the evidence. But if you think about it, the fact that Onyago is related to the president may indicate that the president has to become more involved. For example, I mean, if you're a judge on this case, how can you not be influenced by the fact that your defendant is related to the president? He could be shown favoritism on a silent wink and a nod. That's why the details, we're going to be pressing very hard over the next couple of weeks and months, just like we did with Auntie Onyago, and that's why the details of this particular case have got to be revealed.
Well, I want to know how he got the driver's license again, you're right. There are a lot of questions here, and ICE is now saying that the Boston Globe, 5 days later, the Boston Globe has finally deigned to do a story after the Herald did one yesterday, and after the Washington Times did one yesterday, and after the Metro West Daily News did one 4 days ago. But the Boston Globe finally came up with a story today, and they said, here's a quote, the last quote in the story: ICE does not comment on specific cases. Now, I could have sworn ICE was commenting on that case in Milford last week where the motorcyclist was killed.
Well, look, I've been meeting with with various ICE agents because the administration has been issuing this series of policy memos for the last year, and then last week there was this dramatic shift to expand the administrative amnesty for illegal aliens. What were policy suggestions to dismiss huge categories of non-criminal aliens is now a very detailed, formalized process.
I like what they call non-criminal, too. Like Deval Patrick says, we're going to deport criminal aliens. And then this guy in Framingham, he's been arrested before for assault and battery on a police officer and assault on a firefighter. Suddenly, that's not a serious crime?
Well, even the ICE field agents and the trial attorneys are getting no communication from the top down. On one hand, the administration is having these rogue press meetings where they invite Hispanic media only. They announce their amnesty plans administratively on a White House blog. On the other hand, the ICE field agent and trial attorneys have no idea what the distinction, the language, the details are between non-criminal and criminal aliens. What this administration has done is convert immigration policy into a potent political weapon, and it's created chaos in the rank and file at ICE. They don't know what's going on, and they're not going to know what to do with this guy either.
Well, I can't believe that they held him. The judge was going to let him. The state judge was going to release him on personal recognizance, but they held him on the ICE detainer. So I would assume that, and you know damn well that he's going to plead it down. They're going to plead it down to a reckless driving or continued without a finding. So he's not guilty of a felony, Bob. That's the way.
Look,
that's the way they'll get around that.
Howie, you guys need to get your house in order up there. I mean, actions have consequences, and you had a horrible tragedy last week. And I don't think it's too overreaching to say that the special interests who fight common sense identity checks for immigration status as part of the routine booking process, and the politicians who pander to them, they've got blood on their hands. You need secure communities. You want your cops to be required to check immigration status.
A lot of in this case, many Democrats agree with you. But it's the majority. We're outnumbered up here, Bob, and people just got to wake up to what's going on. What number? If people want to get in touch with your organization, what number should they call? Federation
fairus.org. Fairus.org.
Fairus.org. Keep us informed, and if you try to intervene in an amicus curiae brief or something like that, let us know. Okay?
Yeah, we're all over this, Howie. Thanks.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Bob Dane. I'm Howie Carr.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.